Bpod Studios.
Bad.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. I thought Dan was escaping. He left to get napkins, and he was very late coming back into the studio. He made me very nervous.
Sorry, Fred. Well, it's kind of that mode you put me in. Relax. Shoot the breeze.
Yeah.
We all thought you were nervous, Dan. That's why you left.
Well, there's full phone line, 617-779-0985. It's time for...
People be nice, too. Come on.
Shooting the breeze. So and I have been shooting the here. 617.
Oh!
Hey, dump it.
Feel like shooting the breeze?
Nothing. I just stopped by to chat, shoot the breeze.
Shooting the breeze.
Shooting the breeze about philosophy, the Italians, my Uncle Eckley.
Gary Tanguay would swear so much, and that swear we just played.
Bar and have a nice cool glass. Shoot the breeze.
Yeah, we are shooting the breeze. There's no question about it. But Gary Tanguay he's not even like passionate about something there. He's just like talking like out of break.
Yeah.
Just like out of commercials, and he just swears.
That's how kids are nowadays.
That's how I connect with the younger demographic.
Yeah. Rocky Suarez had a dirty front and back and a mouth to match.
Gave me a boner in my pants.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Jesus, John.
Sorry. Is that too edgy for you?
I think
Clean it up, kid.
You pushed the envelope.
Oh, okay.
Jesus.
Okay.
Jesus, Christmas. All right, so, Roach is here, so feel free to get involved with him. Paul, go ahead, Paul.
Hey, Fred, my in-laws retired down to Tellico Village in Tennessee, which I believe your parents live, if I'm not mistaken. I've been down there.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Yeah. My parents are down there in Tellico Village in beautiful Loudon, Tennessee. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been there a couple of times, and, it's, okay, but I think the food kind of stinks, and, my kids are pretty young, so there's not much to do. And
there's not much to do. You're right on the water.
Well, they don't have a boat, but their friends have a boat.
Well, all right. Well, they're living in a very
trying to get a ride.
Limited lifestyle. Are they on the water?
They're across the street from the houses that are on the water.
Yeah. They're not in the same air as my parents. Let's not put them in the same category. I mean, if they're on the water, my kids lived on that lake. Did they tell you about the lady who died with the dog attack that my mom just informed me of?
Didn't hear about that.
Yeah,
no.
because I think my mom's got that story all wrong. Dan, my mom says that there was a neighbor of hers that was killed by a German Shepherd, their own dog. And I said, well, did she trip over the dog and hit her head? Because the old people, they drop like flies like that. There's no one who falls quite like an old person. And she said, no, the dog mauled her to death. And I don't think that that's true. Yeah. I don't believe that's true. Do you believe that, Danny?
I don't.
Shooting the breeze.
I don't think your own dog turns on you and bites you to death. They bite you, but they don't bite you to death. I don't trust my mother right now with her stories. Someone did get shot, though, in a golf cart and killed.
Where? Down in your place?
Down in Tellico Village, yeah. In my place, yes. Right where I live. I commute every day. George, go ahead.
Hey, guys. Dan, legitimately, I love your vibe and your positivity. I'm also a baseball guy, so I love when you talk about it. With all that in mind, my question is, what do you think happens to us when we die?
Okay, that was a little bit random. What do you think happens to us when we die?
Well, it's the biggest question of our lives.
Shooting the breeze.
You get up and, you walk, have a little breakfast, go watch a ball game.
When you die.
Yeah.
Oh.
George, you have found, because with the sex stuff, he can just shut down.
Right.
But George, when you ask him these metaphysical questions,
right.
when the great the great questions of the universe. This is where Dan truly gets uncomfortable.
Play catch with your dad?
Because he has to talk. Because he can't just ignore you. Because you didn't ask a bad question.
Well, he kind of took a quick turn, though.
He's saying he likes
about the beauty of baseball and everything, and like views. And then, what do you think happens when you die? It's kind of
baseball
heavy.
Is a metaphor for life. I mean, it's an untimed thing. We have our time.
I think that'd be nice too, to be able to go to a ball game every day and just kind of sit.
Then who has to play in them, Dan?
Oh. Just ask, make your own teams.
Yeah, but so you're asking some people to play. Are some people left out of the games?
Well, no. It depends on what you want to, where you want to go. I guess, right? If you're up there in heaven, which you hope to be, you can't.
Do you believe in a hell, Danny?
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
You believe there's a place. What would qualify with someone for hell? He's gesturing towards me.
That wasn't very nice.
It was actually kind of funny the way he did it.
Yeah.
It took me a second to register what he was doing.
Yeah.
He
was quite a head nod. It was sort of like
he was pursing
threw his chin at you a
his
little
lips
bit.
and shoving his face at me.
Yeah.
That was actually funny.
He says, "How do you stay so?"
Unfortunately, we're on the radio, so I had to describe
it. It doesn't really lend itself to the media.
So you think heaven is a lot like Earth? It's just like a nicer Earth.
Yes, it's good people.
Okay, so it's Earth with the bad people removed.
Hopefully.
And who judges? How do we have a compass onto what?
Commissioner of Baseball, of course. Rob Manfred.
No, not Manfred. He's going to hell.
No. You know why he's going to hell?
The uniforms.
Why? What's wrong with the uniforms?
Because everything sees through.
You can see wee-wees. And
see-through pants. That's right. Yeah.
They made money.
If you don't know, this is absolutely true. Major League Baseball has commissioned these Fanatics uniforms, and they're, first of all, terrible. And all the players have been saying, I think Michaelis was the first one. I remember reading Mike Michaelis, a pitcher for the Cardinals, was just randomly was like, these uniforms suck. Yeah. And this was like a month ago. So the uniforms are terrible. They look like knockoff. You know how you can buy like a baseball uniform, like top for like $200?
Yeah.
And you can buy one for like $20?
Yeah,
exactly. They look like the $20 one.
They're like Halloween costumes.
They're not ironed. They're not like stitched on. It's like an iron on. And so, but now the pants they've unveiled are like sheen. They're like see-through pants, which is very bad plan.
And I love the wording of like Tony Clark trying to be all official. Well, we're trying to work our way through it with the players and take their input and everything. Just get new pants. One guy said he's going to go out to Dick's Sporting Goods and get pants because that's how bad they are.
Just put like weird colors. I mean, it's not hard. Just put it like the Red Sox now are purple and gold. There you go. I did it for you. Congratulations. Like, I just did it. Well, and then people go, I hate it. And then people go, I like it. And then you sell your crap and then it's over. I mean, I can make pants. If I'm commissioner, the pants aren't see-through. I can assure you of that.
Right.
I'm not going to make something that looks cheaper than the crap I'm trying to sell. Dave, go ahead.
The Breeze T, big influencer.
Thank you.
A couple of years ago, you got me hooked on New Girl.
No.
Have you seen season 2 of Minx?
Minx?
You got me hooked on that one last year. It was the Jake Johnson porn star.
Yeah. That was a good show. They canceled that show. Yeah, they put it on Stars.
It's on Stars.
Yeah, how do you get
seen
Stars?
Season 2 yet?
No, I don't know how to get Stars.
From my mother.
Wait, what?
I stole it from my mother. I stole her account.
All right. But the Minx season 2, you say is good?
It loses it at the end. It makes him look more like an ass.
Okay, because Minx is about a burgeoning feminist porn magazine in the 70s. Mm-hmm. A fictional feminist porn magazine. Did you ever watch New Girl?
No, I didn't. I used to hear you talk about it all the time.
You know what the problem was? It's a Zooey Deschanel show, but it's an ensemble. It's not her as the star. It's an ensemble, and they positioned it as her show, but it's not about her, Dan. It's about the fellas.
A lot of people like it. My son watched it. Loved it.
Yeah. Smart kid. You know? You big Nick guy? Was he a Winston guy? All right.
Shootin' the Breeze. Shootin' the Breeze.
All right, maybe Dan can answer this better than he answered the question about where we go when we die. Just all he said was baseball.
Sorry, it's the first thing that came to mind.
I mean, I don't think that's any
Maybe it's just a
religion
huge
that I
place
follow.
with everything there. Everything you want, you know?
What do we want?
I don't know, whatever you want, Fred. You
All
know?
right.
Whatever Johnny wants.
Well, just so even like
he can hear out of his ear.
Like
yeah,
now
get both hearing out of
right?
both ears.
So
That'd
you
be
get
nice.
you get your you never,
Everything comes back.
that whole tumor thing's
That's
gone.
fantastic.
Well, do you lose something if you kept everything your
No.
whole life? Will his orthodontics go away? Because will the gap come back?
No, because everything's perfect.
And you still look the same, or is everyone beautiful?
That's a good question on what you look like.
Yeah, that's the question. Because what if you're fat, like me? You know, and say
You'll burn it off.
Say I luck in that. And touche, I'll give you the line. John, go ahead.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Hey.
Morning. How you doing?
So, good. I had a question for Dan, but Fred, I just wanted to back you up on Vermont a little bit. I got to go there a lot. I don't want to say why. But here's the problem with Vermont. Remember the Bob Newhart show?
Oh, yeah.
In Vermont?
Yeah.
So that's the picturesque version of Vermont. But when you get up there, it's nothing like that. They're just all angry people.
Yeah, it's
You
stupid.
can't enjoy yourself.
It's hippies, and then people come back with non-consumable beer, and they like treat it like it's the Holy Grail. Mm-hmm. What the hell is that terrible
Heady
beer?
topper.
Oh, and then people would go
Triple IPA, heady topper.
When I drank, people would go like, "Oh my god, dude! I was just up in Vermont. I got some heady toppers," and they'd like hand it to me, and then only one. And which is, the point of beer is having one. And then I would sip it. I'd take a sip of it. I'd
Gotta
be
drink
like,
it from the can.
This is absolutely atrocious.
You should see the line at the brewery where that thing is made.
Really?
I mean, that's how you get a popular beer. It's just a bunch of crap in it. It's just hops.
Triple IPA.
Triple IPA.
And so, like, it's just a hoppier crap. And
People line up at 8 in the morning outside that brewery. It's called The Alchemist. And people line up for around the corner.
And it took one guy to insist upon it, and then them running out for it to become a thing. You got to just run out of something, and then immediately people want it more. Brian, go ahead.
Gentlemen, good morning.
Hello, bro.
Forgive me if I'm going down a forbidden path here, Fred, but when's the last time you talked to Rich? Is there still any communication between you two? I feel like there's something that something's not being said about the split between you guys. I want to know a juicy story, Fred.
A juicy story? I have not talked to Rich. I told you I got the text message the Saturday after they didn't put him on the air anymore, and I haven't talked to him. Have you talked to him, John?
I got a text message from him on Thanksgiving Day because Belle Biv DeVoe is performing at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. He goes, "You should be there," and that was a quick conversation, and that's the last time I heard of him.
Dan or Nick, have you talked to him? Because this will get it off the record.
Nick has a thumbs down. I have a thumbs down.
Okay, so you two haven't talked to each other. He wasn't.
There was a text, like John said, a day after, maybe.
Yeah, I got one a day after.
Yeah, because it was a Friday and then the Saturday.
So I heard from him 2 weeks after.
So you were the better friend of his.
Apparently, yes.
So to answer your question, Brian, because this comes up a lot, is that none of us were really friends with him, so I don't know what to tell you. It's not like I wasn't friends with him. I didn't talk to him. So it's not odd that I don't talk to him. It would be odd if I heard from him. If I heard from him, I'd get a feeling in my stomach. He's got a private number, so like if a private number rang, I would get like anxiety. Like I'd be like, oh, Jesus Christ, why is Rich calling me? Like it would be that weird. Mm-hmm. Like if he texted me, I'd be like, why is Rich texting me? Like I would feel weird. Like I wouldn't enjoy the process. Like even if it was nice, I wouldn't like it. So if he's listening, don't reach out to me. You'd make me incredibly uncomfortable. Just don't do it. I don't want to talk to you. It's over. Now, I'm not saying that in 10 years, someone goes like, oh, wow, there's this huge nostalgia for Toucher and Rich.
Yeah.
And
it'll be like Mike and the Mad Dog. You show up at a bar, you do a show.
Like, I don't hate him, right? Like, it's not like I would never, like, so I'm not saying like I hate him. Yeah. Like, like, so like.
You're like Belichick and Brady.
Yeah.
I don't
now, Freddie,
know.
what do you want to talk about? You want to talk about Celtics? You want to talk about Bruins?
So if they said, if someone was like, even if they said like tomorrow, like, I'll pay it like this huge amount of money, and all you got to do is like show up with Rich. I do it in 10 seconds. Mm-hmm. But like a social, non-compensated phone call.
I don't see the two of us getting back together. I know there's a lot of nostalgia, and I know you guys want to see it, but I got my own thing now.
I would argue Mad Dog's fine without Frances.
He's more than fine without Frances.
I would say that.
Gosh.
I think that Mad Dog's probably better without.
I was just going to say, of the two of them, I think Mad Dog has done much better.
Here's the thing: is that when you're on the radio, people consume you differently than anything else. Like people consume you 20 hours a week, or they conceivably could. So when there's any change, your immediate reaction to it, even though it hasn't been bad, a lot of people, if you listen to an old thing all the time, it's going to be strange to you, a new thing, or when a component of it's missing. So even if it's better than it was, which I contend Toucher and Hardy over the last 3 weeks is better than Toucher and Rich was in 2003 and 2023 and 2022, certainly. And people go like, when are you going to do – this came up in the meetings. Like, someone will go up to Wallach and they'll go like, when are you going to do Brookline 911? And the thing is, Brookline 911 is a great bit. But I would bet you we did it 7 times. Now, we might have played it 30 times. But I bet you original got the audio from Brookline's police department. In the 17-year history of Toucher and Rich, we did it 7 times. And it was a great bit. And it was an organic bit that came up through all of us. Mm-hmm. Like, I had lived in Brookline and was complaining about it, and then we were going to get the police blotter, but then Rich said, I'll just go get the audio. So, like, it was this organic, great Toucher and Rich bit. But it happened 7 times. So, in between those 7 times, there was a lot of, other stuff. So, there you go. So, there is your question. And now it's been answered. Mm-hmm. And now I will. I don't have to entertain it again. But that is what is going on. So best of luck to Rich. I have no idea what he's doing, and no one I know does, and no one I know has seen him. I haven't even had a listener email me and go, "I saw him." Have you?
No, I have not.
Which is strange.
It is odd.
Because you would think that someone would just have at least seen him. So I don't know.
Yeah.
So he truly is like, I don't know anyone who's seen him. I know he went to the Felger Mass thing, but I don't know anyone else that's seen him. All right. So that's over. When we come back, there is interesting stuff about the Patriots because all this stuff with the draft, now we're in my wheelhouse. Now you're rooting for a team I can get behind. And now I'm familiar with this.
A team that really, this is the Super Bowl of the year for the Patriots. The next talk about wanting to see what's going on at the Combine.
Yeah,
the Combine is next week.
Elliot Wolf speaks next Tuesday.
Burt Breer is going to be out in Indianapolis. I mean, this is what Patriots fans need to lock in on.
Yeah, so this and for the next 3 years, the draft is going to be your Super Bowl. So just get used to it, and then you'll be somewhere.
I really hope, real quick, I really hope that the Patriots treat this differently than they did 3 or 4 years ago. I really hope that they don't try and, we got to get back to relevance. We got to win 8-9 games next year. No. You need to take your time with this one.
Bert said the same thing. I mean, anyone who knows about the NFL will tell you it never works. All right, we'll be right back.
BackstageCountry.com, your online home for all things country music. Wondering who made our list of the top 5 all-time queens of country music? Did Carrie Underwood make the cut? Find out now when you text Queens to 45911 and scroll through the list on BackstageCountry.com. Text Queens to 45911 to see the talented artists who rounded out our top 5 list.
.org.
On the air, online, on the air. This is how Boston sports fans start their day. Toucher and Hardy on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy. Dan Roach is in for Hardy, and we will get to the draft thing this hour, and then we have Cedric Maxwell at 9 and so on and so forth. But since we do the email bit, I get a lot more emails at Toucher at 98.5thesportshub.com.
Oh, that's nice.
Some on the air. But Danny Roach is in here, and yesterday I got some pushback on a thing we did, and I don't quite understand why.
Because you're evil.
That's why you go to hell.
Well, this is about baseball.
Yeah, we determined that today, Fred. Well, you're evil and you're going to hell.
Well, this is about baseball, so I don't know.
Oh.
But in your world, maybe it would go to hell. But we were talking about how, the talk around the Red Sox this year, and it's the first time that I can recall a team like just conceding that they're not very good this early in the season, publicly conceding it. I'm sure everybody's been on teams, and we've talked to enough ex-athletes to know that, they know that when they're on a bad team, they're not idiots. But, just to publicly come out and just say it is odd. And then we were talking about how it doesn't matter, though, with the Red Sox, because from what I've seen, and I've lived here since 2006, the talk is always completely negative around the Red Sox for 99% of it.
It's been
more
really
than
bad, too.
More than any other franchise.
Lately, yes.
So the point I was just pontificating on yesterday, which I guess Roach didn't push back a lot enough for some people's likings.
Really?
Was I questioned if the fan base ever really wanted to win, because the narrative around the team hasn't changed since they've won. So the whole narrative about the Red Sox was obviously we can't win and we've come so close, and the Yankees and oh shucks. And then you win a title, and then you win a couple more titles, and it's still this constant nagging. Like, and by the way, Roach loves baseball and John loves baseball. My springs and summers and falls are completely entrenched in baseball.
Yeah, you are.
From high school to travel to BC, to Boston College baseball,
Cardinals,
to the Red Sox. I can't tell. There's 6 days a week, 7 days a week. I'm literally at some sort of baseball affair. My son wants to go to the Red Sox games. We go to the BC games, and he plays every day in the summer. So I'm around baseball, which I've encouraged. I have an effing $10,000 batting cage in my kid's backyard. I mean, that's idiotic.
Yep.
So, that's idiotic. I spent all my money on a batting cage.
Only to go somewhere else.
So, yeah, well, he still has. That's
no,
all that
I know,
matters.
but the point is,
I'm still allowed in the backyard.
No,
Yes.
just the timing of it
is
was
ideal.
Not good.
I have my own area now with no batting cage.
That's true. No backyard door is taken up.
I have enough for a dog. I have a fenced-in patch of grass, but nonetheless, I can still, I'm still allowed to go over there.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
I mean, the way you phrased it is very wrong.
Wow.
I know, seriously.
Come on, John.
I mean, I'm still able to throw to the kid.
Good.
But
like
so
Dan,
my
who can't throw
bona fides are there.
Yeah.
So enough with questioning my bona fides. And I've been in the market long enough. I've been here almost 20 years. Get off my back. If I was 18 and had lived my entire life here, which is the equivalent, then I would be a Bostonian. So enough. But it's not a long leap to go, well, if the narrative around the team has never changed, good and bad, it's just this constant, annoying griping and bitching. It's not a ridiculous leap to go, all right, well, the fan base just is stuck in this attitude from before they ever won a title, and it hasn't changed. I mean, that's a hypothesis. That's not ridiculous. And if you have to email me and go like, well, that's not true. Well, it's not true for you. But and then sports talk radio is part of the problem. Yeah, but sports talk radio is more successful here than any other place in the country. So it's being consumed more in Boston than any other place in the country. This station is one of the top 5 most successful stations in the country. And we're in the 10th largest media market.
Well, what drives me crazy about that statement right there, Fred, is that I get it. You know what I mean? I get sports talk radio. I get what you guys do. I get, some of the things that are said and everything else. But I think a lot of the fans take it as gospel by the time they're done listening to it. That's what drives me crazy.
But the thing is it has to reflect what the fans are thinking, or it wouldn't be successful. Like, you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. But to some degree, I think it's driven the bus on baseball in this market.
Fair enough, but then it's been going on for longer than this station's been around because I'm telling you, first of all, I'd contend that we would all be out of business if we talked about baseball for 10% of the time on the air. We'd be out of business because there's just not enough demand for it. I mean, we're talking about Matthew Slater getting into the Hall of Fame.
Right. I agree with you.
I mean, the minutia in football is ridiculous.
The NFL drives the bus big time.
Absolutely.
Around the country and here.
But what I'm saying is that from passionate baseball fans. I'm not even saying people aren't watching baseball. I'm talking because apathy is from most of the people. But I'm talking about the people like us that still love baseball. Those are the people talking about baseball. And there's this annoying, nagging complaining that goes on. It's like a reflex. And I think the fact that I didn't grow up here and I'm not a fan of the Red Sox is like Detroit. The Tigers blow, but there isn't this consistent nagging complaining about them, right? Like it's people go, well, Spencer Torkelson or people.
Right.
There's
hope.
There's it's just not this constant nag, like an old house frau nagging at you. Oh well, they don't spend any money. There was a little bit of that with the Bruins. When people go, oh, Jacobs don't spend any money.
There was a lot of that before you guys showed up.
But at least that changed, right?
Yes,
like when they won the title. Because
Yes.
when I first got here, people go, oh, the Jacobs don't spend any money. You go, there's a effing cap.
Salary cap, yeah.
There's a salary cap.
Yeah.
Like you can see how much money they're spending. They're spending up to the cap.
That was the thing. Jacobs was, just to be quick, Jacobs was on the forefront of getting a cap implemented because he didn't want to spend any money.
I get it.
And it wasn't a cap.
But my point is there was that narrative around the Bruins, but then at least it switched when they won in 2011.
That's correct.
And now it's just like this fatalism about them winning a first-round playoff series, which is deserved.
Yes.
I mean, for a dynasty, they've got one championship. I mean, they're still got pieces from 2011 running around, and there's only one championship. But at least that narrative changed. I don't think the Red Sox fans have even given themselves during the good years. I wasn't here in 2004, but certainly when I was here, it took until what, John? I mean,
it was massive fatalism by Red Sox fans up until 2004.
Yeah.
Massive.
And then even in the years that they were good, there was a nagging fatalism around the team.
Yes, of course.
Just wait, right?
Based on
They'll lose.
the experiences that Dan, myself, and everybody else who was here went through.
Right. And so if that narrative's never going to change, hence the hypothesis, maybe the fans were more comfortable having a loser team. It's not a ridiculous hypothesis. It might not be right. I mean, I haven't gone out and polled the 3 million people in the area about their fandom. It's a theory, but I just wanted to clarify that's why the theory's there. There's evidence for it. And, well, that's ridiculous. Well, okay, fine. It's not ridiculous. It might be wrong, but the logic of it is sound. Is that unlike any other team, there is a constant nagging. I joke about it all the time. This constant nagging fatalism, like John Henry's like a crap owner, has been said all, and like, look, he's becoming one, and I wonder if he's becoming one because he's fed up. And
that's not a bad theory to have, right there. I mean, you can kind of feel it.
Yeah, like that he's fed up, and put yourself in his shoes. Honestly, like if you bought the Red Sox in where it was like this mystical thing that they couldn't win a championship, and then you deliver them not one but 4 championships, right? 4 championships.
4.
Yes.
04, 07, 13, and 18.
Yeah, you give them 4 championships, and then the next year they're like, you suck. I mean, put yourself in his shoes.
Well, no, put it this way, Fred, too. If you, myself, and John bought the Red Sox today,
right,
what would you expect walking around New England, walking around the city from fans?
If I was spending money and we were winning, I would expect people to love me.
But, okay, so let's say we went, right, but the way things are now, what would you expect to hear?
Now I would run it as a business. Because there's human emotion involved, I'd run it as a business. But I might be a petty person. But I don't think you buy a professional team to be hated. I really don't. I don't think you buy it as a cold financial investment.
I understand that. I think the other part of this that you haven't mentioned is John Henry's other interests, and I think that's where really the anger lies this time around.
I get it, and I don't think he's spending the appropriate amount of money. I'm just putting myself in his position, and I would assume that if I've delivered a team with a notorious, mythic losing streak, a team that was mythic in its losing, that was celebrated for its losing, that its inferiority process. I mean, I lived in the Midwest and I knew about Boston's inferiority complex to New York. It doesn't exist anymore. but it was a joke. It was a reference in movies. I understood it. And I go and I buy the team and I spend a ton of money and I make the right decisions and I bring in Theo Epstein and all these things, and people are still crapping on me.
But the anger is two different things.
They are two different things. But I'm saying he's might have become what he's become. See, maybe I explain it to you better, and then everyone will understand.
Okay.
Maybe he's become what he's become now, which is not a great owner, because of he can't win with the fans. That's my point.
Okay.
He's making the money either way.
Yes.
So
he is.
What's the point? I'll save myself some money and let you guys bitch about it anyway, because you bitch if I win and you bitch if I lose, and I make the same amount of money, so why would I spend the money
that is
if
indeed,
you're going to bitch it?
That is indeed a crappy owner. Yes.
And that is my theory, because that's the way I would be. I would come in all guns blazing and go, I'm saving the day, everyone loved me, and then we'd win, and I go, huh? And if everyone still crapped on me, I go, you know what, F you. I'm going to, and by the way, I'm not selling the team. And F you, I'm going to hold on to it. I'm going to buy other crap so people will like me. And then you can sit and rot in it, because I'm sick of hearing about it, because I am that petty.
It's an interesting theory. You know what I mean?
It's all it is.
But
is a
I don't know
theory.
if John has that in him. I don't know.
You know
what I
either.
mean?
I don't know either.
I mean, that's
he's never come
as
across
hell.
that way.
My
Yeah,
God,
exactly.
that you paint a picture of John Henry just
right.
say, F all of you guys. You guys all suck. Deal with this.
Yep.
And you know what? I'm holding on to this just to spite
Right.
you guys.
And you know what? Look at this. This is cash. This is to pay Jordan Montgomery. But you know what? We're not going to sign him.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
man.
like, what's the difference? The narrative's the same. I'll sell the place out no matter what I do. And I don't care if they got Blue Jay jerseys under Red Sox jerseys. It's still money in my pocket. And if you don't like it, go after yourself. Now, do I know that? Of course not. I've never met John Henry, nor will I ever. We don't run in the same circle.
No.
I mean, if he has children, they are not my children's age. And I have not talked to every single fan in the Boston area. But, I mean, that's the theory, the hypothesis. It's not ridiculous. And now, it might not be true, but it's not ridiculous. And it's certainly not offensive. And if you don't feel that way, then that's you. But you have to be mature enough to know, well, that's not me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't fit that stereotype. Well, good for you. You're different. There you have it. All right, when we come back, we will talk about this draft and how the decision seemingly has been made for the New England Patriots. We will be right back.
BackstageCountry.com, your online home for all things country music. Country music has so many generous artists who always seem to jump in to help those in need. We're spotlighting 5 who lead by example and lend a helping hand to charitable causes. See who made our list when you text GIVE to 45911. Text GIVE to 45911 and read all about it right now on BackstageCountry.com.
Toucher, Hardy.
You get used to sitting back and letting Daddy drive the car.
98.5 The Sports Hub.
Clearing your throat into the microphone. How dare you?
Yeah, John.
All right, so here's the deal. We are Toucher and Hardy. Danny Roach is in here. We'll talk to Cedric Maxwell at 9. We're brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. The Patriots hold the number 3 pick in the draft, if you haven't heard. And Dan was just reading me off the air. Daniel Jeremiah has the Patriots taking Marvin Harrison Jr. at number 3, which they will not do.
Do you know why? I think Jeremiah has the Patriots signing Kirk Cousins. And as a result, they take Marvin Harrison Jr. at 3.
So the idea is you sign Cousins, you take a wide receiver, so now you have an aging good quarterback.
That's the hurry-up theory that I was talking with Bert about.
Yeah, this is well, I'm working through it. So
Okay.
you have Cousins, who's a guy in his late 30s, coming off an injury. You've got Marvin Harrison Jr. for him to throw the ball to. You've lost your 2 tackles with no one available in free agency, so you don't have an offensive line, and you are losing your tight end. You have no skill position players, and the idea is Cousins has 3 years left probably in the league. You get him this year, you win 6 games, and then the following season you win 8 games, and then he's 40. So that's a ridiculously awful plan.
And then you have to draft the quarterback you should have drafted before, only your draft pick won't be nearly as good.
Except that you'll have had Kirk Cousins for 3 years, so you'll have the 20th pick in the draft.
Much better.
Yeah, you'll have the 20th pick in the draft, or the 19th pick in the draft, or the 21st pick in the draft, and then you'll have to find one there. So instead of taking, Daniels or May, you're now taking Nix or the equivalent
Penix
of Nix or Penix.
No, this is the year to suck it up and take it. You are a bad team. You draft the quarterback. And by the way, when you draft May or Daniels, whoever they wind up with at 3, he's not going to be good for long periods of time. You're going to go through some significant growing pains with him this fall. It's going to happen. He's got to throw 3 or 4 picks in a game. He's going to try to run for his life and fumble. It's going to happen. It's going to be ugly for the first year or 2.
All right, so if you want to know how important it is to draft a receiver in the first round, let's go back to the 2003 Detroit Lions. They have the second pick in the 2003 draft. They take Charles Rogers out of Michigan State. He plays 15 games for them. Mm-hmm. The next year, in 2004, they take Roy Williams, receiver out of Texas.
I remember this.
He plays. They go 0-16. They take Mike Williams. They're building a team to go 0-16. The next year, 2005, they've taken Charles Rogers at 2, Roy Williams at 7. They take Mike Williams at 10. Remember, he was coming off an injury at USC. Mm-hmm. Then the following year, they have the 9th pick in the draft because they've improved so much with their 3 first-round picks that they take a linebacker. Then the year after, they take Calvin Johnson, who's a Hall of Famer, and a great pick at 2. Now they have 4 receivers in 5 drafts that they've taken in the top 10, and they never won a playoff game with Calvin Johnson.
In those 5 drafts, how many general managers did they have?
Well, they had Matt Millen. Well, that was William Clay Ford Jr. He was not a fan of firing people. He was no fan of firing people. So they had Matt Millen for too long. I told you when Matt Millen got fired finally from the Lions, he got a job right after the season doing studio work for one of the networks during the playoffs. Yep. And the local affiliate for Fox or CBS asked if they could not air the studio show and do their own studio show. And you would know this. And the network was like, no, you have to run the studio show. So they ran the ticker on the bottom saying that they did not hire Matt Millen, and it was
please
not,
don't
not
call,
responsible.
please don't email.
And that is honestly, I think it was honestly, swear to God, what happened.
That's how much venom was there, right?
That's a fact of what happened. Matt Millen, who took 4 receivers and 5 top 10 picks. First of all, you're not a good general manager if you have 5 top 10 picks in a row. If 5 years ago you had the second pick and then you had the second pick again, that's not good. And he took receivers of both of them. Now one's a Hall of Famer. But they literally had to run a ticker under the thing going, we did not hire Matt Millen. And it was like, this is like before the internet. It was like in the paper and like on the news.
Right.
Like this moron is going to be infiltrating your living rooms this January Sunday.
But again, that goes back to what we were talking about. I get it with, the whole trading down and getting more picks and building a roster, what have you. But in this one particular situation, I don't understand the fact that you have 3 quarterbacks being talked about, and, we can order them after Williams, either May or Daniels or May. You have this right in front of you. Everyone is saying the same thing, that these 3 guys. And yes, it's a risk. Yes, it's Bryce Young versus C.J. Stroud. You don't know. John said you don't know if this guy's going to come join them because throw 3 picks a game. You don't know if it's going to be C.J. Stroud. It could be Rookie of the Year. But that's what you have to do. In order to win in the NFL, you have to have a coach and a quarterback. It's like going back how many generations now of talent. It goes back to the dynasties. They have coach and a quarterback.
Don't recall Bryce Young being a universally loved quarterback. There were questions about his size. There was like a bunch of stuff. Like these guys, it's different. And by the way, if they trade down and take a lineman, so then you got to wait. So if they trade down and take a lineman, and that lineman starts for them for 10 years, and whatever they get in compensation, they get another long-time starter with that compensation, and whoever falls to 3 turns out not to be a starting quarterback in the NFL in 3 years, then the Patriots made the right decision. But even if they trade down and pick up 2 starters, and Daniels or May, whoever would have fallen to them, ends up being a starting NFL quarterback for 5 years, it was a mistake to trade out of that slot. Because a left tackle and a linebacker do not equal a starting quarterback in the NFL.
I'll give you an example. And Burt Beer was talking about how Andy Reid showed up and he took a lineman number 1 overall. And it worked for Kansas City because they lucked out and got Mahomes later in a stud quarterback spot. Cleveland Browns took Joe Thomas 3rd overall in 2007. How'd that work out for them?
Yeah, and he's a Hall of Famer, first ballot.
He was a left tackle forever, never missed a game. He was the most durable left tackle. He's a legend.
Legend in
How'd
Cleveland.
that work out for Cleveland?
Yeah, exactly. Because you never had a quarterback. But then you can say, well, Zach Wilson was a terrible quarterback and he was taken second. But Zach Wilson had issues. He was at small school. They had a wide open offense. He didn't really do any. You're picking between Drake May, who coming out of high school, I knew who he was. He's 6'4", built like a truck, and he can move. And then you have the Heisman Trophy winner. So I just don't recall, like when Sam Darnold was a nobody at USC. Like there were a lot of people who had questions about Sam Darnold. There were mixed reviews. I mean, on the way into work today, I heard Hasselbeck call May a generational prospect, and then. You hear the guy from ESPN, the guy who's get general manager interest, who says Daniels is the best quarterback in the draft. So, I mean, the reviews are not mixed on these guys. I'm not hearing a lot of negatives. The negatives about May are they question his decision-making at North Carolina, but that can be excused because he had 1 million offensive coordinators and no talent around him. And then the questions about Daniels are his legs are too skinny. Is basically what I've heard.
Right. And there's questions about everybody. You're always going to have that. But again, in this situation, and then they have the 34th pick overall, right? So go take your tackle, a wide receiver there. I don't have a problem with that whatsoever.
And Marvin Harrison would be a disastrous pick, and I can just tell you this, is because he's not a generational talent, because he's not ranked that high. The receiver after him is ranked right after him.
Yeah, and Jeremiah has Arizona taking the kid from Washington 4th, right behind.
So they don't
Harrison.
even have neighbors going 3rd. That's the thing is that the kid from so there's 3 kids that are going to be receivers that are going to be top 10 picks. So that means Harrison's not a generational talent because it's not the quarterback position.
Oh, I'm sorry, Fred. He does have the kid neighbors 4th, right after. But then he's got Odunze,
Rome Odunze
9th. So yeah, 3 wide receivers in the top
3
10.
receivers are going in the top 10.
The point is still the same.
The point is the same. All right, Cedric Maxwell is going to join us coming right up.